Hey guys, it's Tammy Van Hollander. Today is Teleplay Therapy Day 7, and we are going to be talking about Sensory Fantasy Island. So I am going to share my screen here with you guys and share with you a little bit about one technique that I love that I've been using for years, and it's a great one to be able to use for teleplay therapy. So, Fantasy Island is a wonderful assessment for children when we're getting to know kids or in general. There's nothing that kids love more than being able to have control and make decisions. So, this is a great assessment to be able to understand them a little bit better. And this could be used with markers, big paper. It could be used with Play-Doh. It could be used with blocks. It could be used with Legos. It could be used with miniatures and sand. So whatever the child has access to, and give them options of what they want to use. But I often find that paper and markers work great for this activity. And what we're going to ask them, if they can have an island, they get to decide whatever they want. So, are there rules on the island? Is there school on the island? Is school 5 days a week on the island? Do parents work on the island? How many days a week do parents work on the island? What are the rules of the island? So this is an important one when we're looking at it. For some perfectionistic kids, they may have the rules are that everybody goes to bed at 8:30 every night, and they're very rigid. Other ones are, there are no rules of the island. So we're looking at what are the rules of the island? What are they doing to try to keep people safe within the island? They get to control the weather of the island. So we're able to really understand that piece of it. They're able to control what animals are on the island, what animals are not allowed on the island, what activities are on the island. So we're asking them, what does a typical day look like on their island, and for them to give us a tour of the island. We get a lot of information when we ask children who is on their island. For some kids, they may say, it's only me on the island and nobody else is allowed on my island. Or maybe just a parent, or certain people are absolutely not allowed on the island. So we're taking in all of this information, and we're just getting more and more knowledge about the child. For a child who may have difficulty sleeping alone and still in their parents' bed on the island, are they in their own bed, or are they in their parents' bed? So we're getting all of these different pieces of it, and then we're getting them to name their island. So this is a fantasy island that they've created that we can check in with. So then what I've done after doing Fantasy Island for years, I notched it up a little bit and took in how do we incorporate sensory, all the different senses into the island. And I started doing this after I read Robert Jason Grant's book, Understanding Sensory Processing Challenges. It's a workbook for children and teens. I love Robert Jason Grant's work. I love all the work he's done in Play, and he's wonderful. So I certainly encourage you to check out his work, and some of the workbooks that he has are also great for teleplay therapy. But in one of the workbooks, what he showed is how do you, it will say favorite things that you like to taste, things that you don't like to taste, things that you like to smell, things that you don't like to smell. So even in my presentations, and I often encourage adults to do this as well, of creating their own fantasy island and then shutting their eyes and really being able to access all of their senses, because we forget about that, and we're often so stuck in that left brain thinking and not being able to incorporate all of the senses, which are so key when we're working with trauma, when we're working with everybody, of the importance of bringing all of the senses in. And when we are doing this type of work, guided imagery is so powerful. So guided imagery becomes more powerful when we're really able to access what are those senses that really make us feel safe, feel calm. I often will say that we have to be careful with certain clients that we work with to use the word safe, because for many kids who've been traumatized, safe, there isn't a safe in their world. So what is a happy place? What is a calm place for them? So here are some of the different things that we can ask them, and they can shut their eyes while doing this, or they could just write it down. And I encourage you to do this with the adults you're working with. I encourage you to do this with the teens as well as yourself, to shut your eyes and to think about, what is your favorite thing to hear? What is your favorite thing to smell? What's your favorite thing to see? What's your favorite thing to taste? What's your favorite thing to touch? Touching may be petting your dog or snuggling up with your cat that may be on that island. It may be, for me, it would be walking barefoot with my feet in the sand. And as we're walking, we're bringing all those sensory pieces to the surface. And then what we do once we have the child or client's likes of all those sensory pieces, we can actually take them deeper into a guided imagery meditation through their fantasy island with incorporating all of the senses. So it can be a really powerful technique. Right now, we're in a time where we are missing out on some of those important senses, and that we have to do things virtually. I have been telling some of my families that there are all these art museums and zoos that you can visit online. So how do we create as much of a sensory experience as possible? So I haven't seen the one on the San Diego Zoo, but I heard it was great. So get everybody all packed up like they're going to the zoo, dress for the zoo, maybe make a picnic lunch for the zoo, and then put the zoo on the TV or on the screen and ask the kids, what does it smell like? Do the elephants smell good or bad? What other things do we hear? We may be able to hear some of it virtually, and bringing all of those senses again together so the whole family can experience it together. I think what I've been loving most about the teleplay therapy and the work that I've been doing with families, and what I'm hearing from others right now, is the togetherness. And families are taking this time to reset and to recognize that slowing down is so important. And we have to be so grateful for everything we have. So I'm going to read this. I saw from someone on Facebook. It does not have it's anonymous who wrote it, but I think it's beautiful, and it's a beautiful thing for you to share with your families as well. I imagine if Dr. Seuss were alive today, he'd write something like this. The buildings were big and people would smile, and travel they would mile to mile. But sick they become, in numbers it grew, businesses worried, communities too. Things stopped for a bit, the world slowed its roll. The virus had certainly taken its toll. But what they then saw from slowing things down is, in fact, they now had less reasons to frown. Families now gathered, what game shall we play? Pass me the blue crown, give mommy the gray. Daddy's home, guys. He'll read us a book. Then all of us together will cook. The lungs of the planet caught a small break. Less travel meant less pollution to make. People did realize they'd all be okay. They don't need so much to get through their day. Maybe this virus that causes so much stress showed the whole world that more can mean less. So hoping you guys all hang in there and that you're getting some good tips from these videos, and I will talk to you soon.